My name's Jeff Bajorek, and my career in sales has been a hell of a ride. And I want to bring you along with me. If you prefer to sell things at a premium, if you never want to win a deal on price, rethink the way you sell. Welcome back to the Rethink the Way You Sell podcast. My name's Jeff Bajorek, and I am your host. Hey, does your team need to rethink the way they sell? That's where I come in, actually. I love to help teams understand their why, understand what is possible, understand how they can do things as effectively as possible in their own way to make them feel better about selling, to make them feel more fulfilled by selling. And that's really what my mission is. And that's really a big part of why this podcast exists. So, hey, if there's something you think I can help you with, shoot me a message, jb@jeffbajorek.com. Happy to have a conversation. I don't send an invoice until we decide to do something about it. And I really just enjoy connecting with people who are in that situation and looking to improve. Okay, anyway, now, what is the first thing that a top performer does? What is the first trait that I can identify about top performers that separates them from everybody else? Well, they're proud to call themselves salespeople. How often do you see this? I'm not in sales. I'm a solutions consultant. Yeah, that's it. Or no, I'm a small business owner. I don't sell, but I do go out and do marketing. Yes, I do marketing. We have all these euphemisms for salespeople, and I don't know why that has to be the case. Actually, I know it doesn't have to be the case. I also know why it's the case. It's because people think selling or sales is a four-letter word, and anybody that can count knows that it's more than that. But we've had these things ingrained in us. We've had these ideas pounded into our heads that selling's bad. Selling means we're separating people from their money. Selling means that we're making people do things that they don't want to do, and we're taking their money as a result, their hard-earned cash. I don't think people have a salespeople issue as much as they have money issues. That's something I've learned and really interpreted over the past couple of years. But I think we need to understand that selling is one of the most noble ways you can possibly help somebody. And when you boil it down, selling is nothing more than helping people solve problems in a way that only you can help. It's helping them come to new realizations. It's helping them reach new heights. It's helping them resolve a lot of issues. The first definition I ever heard that really resonated with me, was by Brian Tracy. And I was listening to a program in my car on CD. That's how long ago this was. It was The Psychology of Selling. This was mid-2000s. And he said, selling is nothing more than a transfer of enthusiasm from one party to another. And I thought, wow, that's really profound. And I see where you're going with that. Most sales don't even involve money. And I take that a step further, and I think anytime you ask somebody to do something, you're making a sales call. When they do it, you made a sale. That makes them your customer. Now let's think about this. What if you treated everybody like your best customer or your potential best customer? What would that do to the way that you treat people every day, that you interact with people on a daily basis? What kind of an impact would that have? Now, when we redefine what selling is, when we make it something bigger, something that we all do intuitively because it's really just how we interact with people, our fellow human beings on a day-to-day basis, we have a new lens through which we can view those interactions. That's how I like to do it. And when you can open up your horizons a little bit, and when you can take a taller, 30,000-foot view on things, well, that's when you see things differently. You see a bigger picture. And that's something that top performers do. So look, salespeople are proud to call themselves salespeople because they know that they're helping people. Top performers make sure they put their prospects, their customers first. They put their best interests ahead of their own, even when it's not in their best interest in the short term. Their prospects' best interests in the long term are always better or always more important rather, than their own self-interest in the short term. And that's really important. And that's the biggest differentiator between what a modern sales professional is versus what that old stereotype was. Because if you do enough of the right things for the right people, enough really good things are going to come around and help you and happen to you. But when you recognize and you create outcomes that nobody else can in ways that nobody else can, doesn't that motivate you a little bit to do more, to help more, to create more possibilities, to resolve more issues, to solve more problems? It should. That's what selling's about. And when you're out there putting others' best interests before your own, searching to help people, seeking to create a positive difference, that's what real professional sellership looks like. And this also comes through in their personal brands. People who are proud to sell, they shout it loudly and proudly. And they should. And their reputation is such that people see them as someone worth talking to because they always have something worth talking about. And you'll hear me say that a lot if you haven't already. But that reputation is something that precedes them. So personal branding is very, very important just in general, because if you don't have a reputation, if no one's ever heard of you, you're not likely to get your call returned. But what does that reputation look like? What have you done to create it? Are you proud of who you are and what you do? And do you live out in integrity the things that you stand for? We're going to get into that a little bit more later on. But I want you to think about what it means to be proud to call yourself a salesperson. I want you to think of how many times you've seen salespeople. You look to the left or right of you in your desks, in your offices. Maybe figuratively you do that if you're working remotely. But think about all the people who are so quick to say, oh, yeah, but I'm not one of those kind of salespeople. And if they're not saying it, so many more are thinking it. And think about how often that desire to not be something gets in your way. I'm so anti-sales that I forget that I'm in sales, right? Like, think about how many people that statement could apply to. Think about how many times you've held yourself back because you don't want to be the antithesis of what you are. You don't want to be that greasy-haired, mustard stain on the tie, used car salesman off the lot. We've all seen that picture. We all have that picture in our heads. But we forget that those people, they were pretty effective at what they did. And it wasn't because they were greasy-haired and had too much mustard on their hot dog at lunch and some fell on their tie. It was because they were doing the things that needed to be done. They were still executing. So just because you don't want to be like the person that executed that way doesn't mean that you can't, or that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still execute. Remember, the difference between top performers is those who know versus those who do. So when you think about your sales career, when you think about what it means to be in sales, when you think about what it means to be proud to be in sales, don't try so hard to not be something that you end up not being the thing that you need to be as well. The next couple episodes are a lot of fun. I'm going to talk with Andy Paul, and Andy's going to talk about what he calls the 4 pillars of selling in. Selling in would be the opposite of selling out, and selling out would be that guy, right? Being that guy, that woman, that person you don't want to be. You don't have to sell that way. That's what Andy's going to talk about with me. I'm also going to have my friend Tara Horstmeyer on. She is a brilliant mind as it relates to personal branding, as it relates to putting yourself out there on social media. She's been a LinkedIn top sales star in the past, and if you're not following her, you need to. And I really hope you're going to stick around, and over the next week or so, as these episodes come out, you're going to spend some time listening to the wisdom that those two are bringing to the conversations, and you're going to learn something from them and actually put some of that stuff into play. Remember, the difference between top performers and everyone else is the difference between those who know and those who do. I hope you're ready to come with me. I hope you're willing and able to become someone who does more of the right things rather than just seeking knowledge that you won't ultimately use. Thanks for being here. I'm really excited to take you with me on this journey through the rest of season 2, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Rethink the Way You Sell is a Pod About It production. It's mixed and edited by Doug Branson, with music by Blue Dot Sessions and Doug Branson. This podcast is masterminded by Jeff Bajorek.